influx of startups that were moving into town. I was at the mayor's office that pulled to the welcoming of all the startups that were moving into town. So I got a lot of exposure there. Still do a little work in that area. I have what's kind of turning into my third startup, which it does feel like a lot, probably because it is, but it's an idea I've had for a while on doing like rapid process mapping and like needs assessment work. So we're using some AI agents and some AI prompting behind the scenes to do some data processing and
for what?
Rapidly conduct an AI interview on people that work in various areas of municipal government and things. I used to run an innovation academy where we do a lot of kind of design thinking, post-it note, rapid process mapping teams. Or it felt rapid at the time, but now we've like cut that time. It's like a tenth of the time it used to take us. We're able to kind of in an hour do some very, very quick process mapping and visualize it on like on a Miro board or like a Visio style board. So we're working with cities to do that. That's a kind of a long-standing idea that I've had with a couple other friends.
Like almost like a brainstorming exercise.
Yeah. It substitutes the need to have a moderator. So you instead of me kind of managing the session and kind of doing a guided brainstorm and like pulling ideas on or doing all like the questionnaire that you would need for like a needs assessment in an organization. We do a lot of that. We have some prompts designed that will be a pretty human-like telephone call.
So you're viewing this as a product?
So right now, I would say it is a product that I am using internally as a consultant, me and my colleagues. So it's not public facing. I think that's a whole other universe if we're going to make it like a SaaS product. I'm not sure, to be honest, if I want to be in the business of doing that. What it's doing, it's.
But right now you're using it as a consulting mode that you go in and use it, and then you're using, but you're not giving you're not giving that tool to your customer.
The tool available. We still got it. There's still some manual work we have to do behind the scenes. It doesn't have a UI.
Yeah, God. When do you sleep?
We're testing it out. Say it again.
When do you sleep?
Good question.
No, but it is almost in a way that there's so many things that you almost have to find that balance that you don't burn out. Yeah, out really.
So my good and kind of very thematic because I part of the reason I left my job too is I got very there were so many things happening all the time. There was like no time for deep work.
No, especially with your music. Each of your projects is a full-time job. Seriously.
Yeah, and it requires like sitting down. I need like 4 hours.
Right, and you need that length of time. Yes, I agree with you.
So everything that I was doing in my previous world, I got really good at like 15 minutes.
Yeah, but there's no depth there. You don't have the time to really.
No doubt. So that was like a criteria for leaving. So I took like 6 months off to kind of like reset my brain and like and get out of the the dopamine hit or whatever, like the fast. So to answer your question, I've got like I it's like time management, which like historically I have not been the best at. I've managed to kind of crack the code a little bit on making blocks of time and. I use a lot of AI prompting. Actually, it's really kind of supercharged my own way of doing things. So I'll like walk in the morning. I have like I'll do like 30 minutes and I'll just do like a full brain dump, like no sequence or order. And then I've got a prompt that will like organize that for me into like a daily to-do list and be like, all right, you got too much here, you got too much there. And yeah, just like, weekly figuring out what my week looks like and taking the other things.
And seeing where the priorities are. So you're traveling a lot as well?
Not that much for that reason, right? If I take
that's what I'm saying.
Raleigh, it sort of sabotages my
and just going on and off. That's what that's where I've been. I've really, I guess through COVID, I really cut down on the travel. And one of the things I was thinking about doing other travel, and I was just thinking, how much time that takes me, just the beginning and the end of it. And those blocks of time that
and the context switching is like the worst killer, So I structure now like I go into a week and really, I am sort of doing a lot over the course of a quarter, but I've got pretty good of a like, all right, like this week has been largely on music stuff because I've been on this other project, consumed a lot of the last 2 weeks. So, you know, my business partners know my cadence, and I'm like,
and your business partners, and you have different business partners, I assume, for your music versus your
so
consulting.
I've got my bandmate on the Raker side, which is my band, and
Yes.
then the other two guys that I work with. I mean, I've worked with them in some capacity easily over the last decade and plus, so they know they know me. There's no learning curve. Like they know the other things that I'm doing, and just being very upfront, like what time commitment I can make to this thing. Like I want to do this project, but just know I could be gone for. We got to design this so I can be gone for 2 weeks on tour if I need to, right? So, which has been great because it's been, effectively that project is another band, you know. Everything I'm like in 3 bands. Is really the way that I look at it.
Okay, great. So I got an overall, and we can. There's so many things that we can kind of work together with, but let's kind of go step by step. That I have on June 12th. It's that music technology. They basically reached out to me and wanted me to look at the ethical considerations of AI in the music industry. So what I usually like to do, I do this for locally, I do it for community service. And usually when I have something like that, I usually like to bring together a panel of, and many times a panel of some people I don't even know. But it's so great that I get to know them. And I always am on the mindset, even if no one came, it would be just such an interesting conversation among the panelists to meet each other. You know, so right now it's at 3:30 to 4:30. I always ask for the latest time of the day just for my own work. I don't want to interrupt my day, so it's give me the latest time. I'll speak if you give me the latest time. So they gave me the latest time, 3:30, June 12th at the Hyatt. So who I have right now is, I'm going to have a couple of attorneys that I have. One I just, let me just see. His name was, he's a musician as well. What is his name? I'm
going off camera for a second, but I'm still here. I can
hear you. It's fine. Let me just find him. Hold on. It's kind of interesting. His name is Les Ziegel. I don't know if you know him. Zigel. He's been, and as a matter of fact, a musician I know. I asked him about an attorney. He said he used to play with him in the band, and he's a partner and chair of Firms Entertainment at this firm, SMGQ Law. So he's interested. I just still need to speak with him. And then I'm going to meet, I guess, physically. Let me just see who else I have. A guy, he sounds very interesting too, that another musician that I wanted him to come, he just said, Sarah, I'm not the right guy, but I got you somebody that really is good. And his name is Daryl Arnold. And he is a professor at Miami-Dade North Campus, and he teaches AI ethics. And he's also a musician. You know. So that is the one.
It's a fun crew.
What?
Okay. It's a fun crew.
Yes, isn't it? So I'm just so excited. And as a matter of fact, they have something that I was just aware of. This guy, 18 Wheelers, this guy Chris, who used to be a music audio engineer that I know. He invited me. I'm on his mailing list, and he says, I'm playing at Streets party that they took over Flagler every Thursday and Saturday for music bands to play. And I was not even aware of it. So I really love it. So I'm going to meet him this Saturday. He couldn't come Thursday and Saturday. This week is their last week I can send you the link. It's really interesting. They had maybe you can maybe in the fall. I don't know if you're performing. You can ask them to play there. But they have. It's really nice. They have each band plays at they switch off at 5:30 to 6:30, and then there's another band 6:30 to 7:30. 7:30 the first band comes back on, and 8:30 the other one is. They have.
I love it. What's your thing?
It's called Streets Party. Let me just go and find it. It's on Flagler. You can join us if you want. This is the last week. It is so goddamn hot. You know what I mean? That it's outside, but it's like a hidden gem. They have like the best musicians. Hardly anybody shows up, and it's by the Olympia. It's right by the Olympia Theater. You know, they are in Flagler.
Yeah.
Right there on Flagler. And if you want to, we're gonna go on the Thursday and Saturday. They have some really nice.
Next Thursday.
This Thursday, tomorrow, and Saturday. This is their last week. I just found out about it a couple of weeks ago. Had I known, I would have gone earlier. You know, and it's just wonderful. My husband and I danced there for a couple of sets. You know, we bring a little picnic and we sit down, and it's really for you if you're interested. You can meet the production crew, the guys that bring out the. There's one guy. What's his name? His name is Fritz. His name is Terrell Fritz. He's the executive director, and it's called DowntownMiami.net. I was thinking it's called the Flagler District kind of thing, and they basically were in charge of this, and they set up their music. And what's nice is the bands are like they'll have a smooth band, and then they'll have like a rock and roll band or something. You know, so it really fits. Last time you can see it. Did you find it? I can give you the link.
I found like street stages.
Yes, that's it.
That's it? Yeah, this was like an old instance of it.
Yeah, but let me just see if I can find it. It's street stages. And then they have a lineup of the music this week. Yeah, this is it.
Olympia Arts Band.
Yes. And then you can look at their what's available. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so if you want to street stages, yes. You can see people dancing. Here's the weekly musicians lineup. Let me just.
Thursday, May 23rd.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, you see it?
I know this band.
Okay, fine. Cool. Okay, and then.
The State of. That's going to be fun. Yeah, they're the drummer of the State of 80s, 90s dance.
Right.
Let me see if I can make it up there. Yeah. And the Betty, the drummer of that band. We've done a little bit together. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah, so it turned out to be really, that's why, and it turns out, I guess, you know, there's a connection between music and tech anyways, because I used to be in the very beginning, even with Microsoft. I used to be in the very beginnings when they had conferences. What they did for entertainment is they just put instruments on a stage. And that was it, you know. So I think there's a sense of. So these are kind of the people. I may have another programmer there as well, but these are a couple of people. And I was thinking that everybody have like maybe 5-7 minutes to talk, show something. Oh, I have another guy. He plays the ukulele, but what he's doing is he really is into creating generated AI music. He doesn't create his own music, but he's really gotten into that, and he showed me what he does. And then it basically, on some of these, you can get a license for it. You pay, you know, once it's generated, you pay for the license for the music. Other ones that he was using, he was telling me that you could use it like for the background, you know, you don't own it, but you can use it just like the background for podcasts and so forth. So it's kind of interesting. I'm thinking about, and with the attorneys, it's just so crazy now. And you heard about, you know, OpenAI with, what is it, Scarlett's voice, right?
Yeah. Really interesting news yesterday with Suno.ai they got the $125 million worth of funding was the biggest music AI funding round, and it's a complicated discussion because
Yes.
largely got a head start because they were using unlicensed music. Everyone seems to
Yes.
kind of agree
No,
on, and
it's a bottle of, it is so interesting, and it's just the
yeah,
beginning. We're just in the early stages of this, that it really can
yeah,
become, you could do just a whole conference, on
sure.
that, what,
Yeah, yeah. Do you have so I definitely have a take on some of this stuff, and probably I'm speaking out of both sides in some ways because my band wouldn't exist if it weren't for technology. I'm not doing
yes,
good enough, like I've been largely enabled by tech tools. On the flip side, like I mean, there's a lot that's happening with
yeah,
music right
no,
now.
it is, and it's a complicated, and
So
especially with music being creative, it's a complicated style. Just think about it. It's almost like to you to
yeah,
say to yourself, you're not going to use a computer anymore. It was,
yeah,
I'm old enough to tell you that my good friend, he was in business school at Harvard. He had, he got his degree at his undergraduate at MIT, so he's no dummy, right? And then he went to Harvard School in the early, and basically he went to Harvard Business School, and they were doing something of finance problems, right? He was getting an MBA. And he told the professor, since he was a computer programmer, a brilliant one, I could create a program to do all of this that we're doing on our calculators. And,
uh huh,
and then this is what I love. I tell my students that too. Don't believe any professor you ever hear. That he said to them, this Harvard professor tells him, that isn't a good idea because no business person would ever use a computer. And then he basically wrote it, and he wrote this first spreadsheet, and he sold it to IBM. And IBM, the only reason they got into the laptops was because of his software. It's called VisiCalc, and he basically, you can see that um, it's always a bundle here that we're talking about. It's
yeah.
both sides. How much time does it save you to do a lot of the work that you have to be a sound?
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And when people are thinking about AI has existed for a long time. We as the regular consumers weren't aware that it was there. So not
Yeah.
just after that Chat GPT did the whole world kind of wake up and say, oh, this is what AI is. So it is a complicated issue, why were all those writers on strike for so long wasn't just because of money. It was
That's right.
because,
That's right.
if you're going to use my stuff, let me get some royalties out of it. So it is a complicated issue. So is so that's what I'd like you to talk about. What I usually do for my demonstration is not only speaking about it, but I'd like to do a show and tell. Nobody wants to see another slide, and I just don't want it to be just talking heads on both sides. So I'm thinking if there's something that you want to show, that you can demonstrate something, and then you can talk about both sides of it. This is
Yeah.
not black and white. We all agree
Uh-huh.
with that, right? And we're not going to, we're not, and just even think about anything electronic now, right? Electronic music, right? You're not going to tell me that it's not been used. So think about it,
Let
and
me give
then
that some thought. How long is the total
that we only
time?
have an hour.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and we're at the end. So, what I figure always is that's what I'd like is hopefully if they don't have a happy hour, we can go to some happy hour, even at the place, you know what I mean? So we
That sounds
can,
great. Yeah. There's a couple cool spots right outside
yeah,
LA
so we
there.
can be there and we can continue and we can continue on the way. And I just think it's fantastic the group of people that we'll have there, you know what I mean? To get to meet each other, and I'm sure in the audience as well.
We'll
So
drag some people to happy hour maybe to come join us for
yeah, you know
the
what I
after.
mean, and that's the same kind of thing that once we're there is to join, because I think we can't do it alone, and there's so much work out there
Yeah.
to talk about, and even in helping one another. So I
I
think
love.
that this is a great idea. So that's what I wanted you to do, and then you can let me know maybe next week or the week after, the first week in June, I'll maybe set up a Zoom with all our panelists, to see what everybody wants to talk about. But I'm loose in that sense of, making it a conversation, but making it as kind of a, a demo. And what I like people to do is I always think about, because I'm pressed for time, is reusability. So anything that you do in this spot, that you can reuse it somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you mentioning it. Yeah, I'm already like, all right, because I've been thinking about putting together, just in discussions with friends about this, putting together just a ready to go slide deck. So
yeah, and you don't have to.
Great catalyst for that.
No, but also what I like about it is that you don't have to use all the slides. You can create that in whatever time limit. You can even do it, and if you want to share it with the group, that's fine. If you don't, but I'm saying that you have that already, and that you can reuse it. And then what later on is basically you can even show it in the beginning or at the end. For a minute or so is to show your music. That's where I fell in love with that one that I saw there was really nice, because some of this electronic music, I must say, it irritates me. It's almost like on a chalk on the blackboard, It's basically nails on the blackboard. But I'm just saying yours was really, I could see that people really could get into it, You can use it so many other ways. So that's...
Yeah, and it's funny because we probably will have, let me think about how I can turn this into a Raker promo.
No, but I'm just saying you can, and you can even invite your other partners, invite other people to it. It's free to register, and once I get people, I'll ask the organizers if this is my panel. Can you get the bios and so you can be part of the speakers? That's what, once at the end of this week, I'll have everybody, I'll send a note and saying, these are, they don't even know it. They invited me to do it. I said, these are the folks that will join me in our panel. These are the guys. So you'll have your picture and a bio on it. So that's what I'll use as well. So yeah, why not? Why not promote it? But promote it in the way that it fits in the conversation. These are the... And what are the ethics that we're on one side? It's almost like I used to look at doing, one of my other research is doing fraud detection. And it was basically, in fraud detection, is basically following all the keystrokes somebody was doing when they were working for you. And I thought, who could use this? But we created like a discriminant analysis to say who was cheating and who wasn't. And in one sense, the auditors that I was giving this talk to really loved it when it was used on someone else. But when they said, oh, somebody's going to be looking at what I do, then it was. And we ended up going to the Securities and Exchange Commission, that we did a model where we could see who was cheating and who wasn't. We had a model of it. And we ended up seeing the head of the SEC at Washington, D.C. He was willing to see us Friday after 5 o'clock. When he saw us, he said, I will deny ever seeing you. And he said, all I want to do is try out our model to see if it's working. We don't even know, it works in our types of research, but will it work on yours? And he said, well, what would Dingell say? And I said, what do you mean Dingell? Dingell was a congressman at that time. And he says, they would ask, why do I have 200 attorneys and accountants working with me if this, and at that time it was like at the beginning of an AI model, if this AI model was working, and because you can send it to me, it was like clandestine, you can send it to me in a brown folder with no name on it. And I said, thank you, but no thank you. But I'm just saying that everybody my point is, everybody likes the AI when they're using it.
Correct.
Right. But it's that idea that it helps me. I love it. That
I love it. I get to supercharge my work.
Right. But I don't want it for the others, or I don't want and then the problem, why does it supercharge? Because you can get other things that are generated. So that's so think about what you can kind of you'll have some time, and we'll have time afterwards, but kind of like a think about a I'm thinking like a 5 to 7 minute kind of, and part of it being like a demo, because I think that's where people get involved in. Show me almost like, hey, this is a cool tool I use, or this is what we're using, these are the issues, and then we'll have the attorneys talk about, the issues of now what happens. They took my stuff. What are we going to do with that? Or they have my voice, or what can I use? They have my image and so forth. So you got it? What do you think?
Yeah, sounds great. I'm ready.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that we can play loose with it. But I think, talking off the top of your head you can do. You know what I mean? You almost don't need the rehearsal of it. But finding something, what I'd like you to spend the time, finding something that you can demo.
Yeah, I'll frame it up. I'll use the demo as kind of a cornerstone.
Yeah, and then show your music. Why not? You know what I mean? And then maybe in your music of how and on that end, I don't see what's wrong with doing promos. You know what I mean? I think that's great. Anyone that's doing it, and you'll see that this Arnold, I'll tell him too, that he's also teaching. He's a philosophy professor, and they got him to think about doing the course for AI ethics. Right? Doesn't that fit? And then he says, well, he's going to be working on blues music or some, album on that. Let everybody even show their stuff. It's great.
Daryl Arnold, right?
Right.
Cool.
And he plays, he was supposed to meet us tomorrow. Instead, he's going to meet us on Saturday because he's playing at the Luna Cafe. What is it? Luna Star Cafe. He's playing at 8 o'clock on Thursday. So he says he'll join us on Saturday instead. So I haven't met him, but he's going to do a short set of songs at Luna Star Cafe. So it's just a way in which, hey, you meet people that you would, Miami's also so siloed that it's great to set a community.
How many little music scenes there are in Miami.
Yeah, and it's less and less, right? So that's what I loved about that street stage. Even if you can stop by, even to talk to those guys, that was poorly advertised. I had no idea about it. You didn't, right?
I didn't. I know the director of the DDA pretty well. I'm going to be like, what's going on over here?
Yeah, no, but I'm just telling you that you didn't. So you can imagine me, that I'm more in the tech, and I just found out about it from somebody else. But I'm just saying that we said, hey, in one sense, we love it because there's nobody there. But they have such great bands, and then they're figuring out, what kind of sets they can bring back, and even some of them. So if you even looked at the list, it was really a nice group of, and the musicians have nowhere to play live, right? So every musician that was there was one, her name was Valerie, I think Tyson or something like that. She could belt out like Aretha, like no one other. And you could see she must have been 60-some years old. And she kept on saying, Valerie Tyson Band, it was last week. And she kept on saying, I'm just so appreciative that you're paying us. You know what I mean? That you could tell that she was getting, who knows, she's not like you that has other possibilities probably,
Yeah, and even then,
no, but I'm just telling you that it's so hard. But it's okay. But anyways, that was
Valerie Tyson. Love it.
Yeah, she was fabulous. She just did it, and she had 2 sets, and it was incredible. And then she had this pianist, this young woman that was, she was like a hidden gem. She sang one song, and you say, hey, she could have been a whole band by herself, But it was just amazing. But okay, so you got the idea of what I want?
Yeah, I do. And then we'll get one more check-in, I guess.
Yeah, check in like the first week in June to check in. Once I have everybody, I'll gather together and say, what is everybody going to... Then I get a sense of how I want to, kind of coordinate it if it goes on the timing.
I love it.
Okay, great. So, great to meet you. Maybe let me know if if you come down. We can. Daryl's coming on Saturday, just so you know. He says he is,
Yeah, Saturday, and I'm going to be up in Delray.
Yeah, so
But
maybe
Thursday,
just to stop by if you
if I
want.
get yeah, I'm carless at the moment. Hopefully, I get the car back this afternoon, and then that'll drive whether I can make it out.
Okay, but if not, it'll be another time. But I'm just letting you know that this was just on the side that you could even play, for them. And they're starting up in October, they told me again. So it's October through May, Thursdays, Saturdays. How great is that?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, and then if I'll thank Raimundo for the introduction.
I know, same. I'm going to text him now in a little
Yeah,
bit.
let him know. So he's always one of my favorites. He does a great job in promotion. I always tell him that he does.
He's a machine. It's so funny. I'm always looking at me and a buddy who's the CIO or previous CIO in Philadelphia. We're always laughing because we're looking at like the conference setup. We're like, Raimundo's there.
Right. No, but he is so good at it. He is. But I'm just
so good. I mean,
he really has. He has a talent for it, and he's kind of humble.
Sure.
He has a humbleness about him, but I'm saying he's always there making sure that he promotes whatever he's doing, promotes his staff.
He does the work.
No, but he does the work, and his staff, I've even had, when Raimundo couldn't come out, because I do a number of speaking engagements, and when it fits, I always, even when I invite Raimundo, he always, takes one of his staff people, so it's really great, that he'll promote him, and I'll always tell him, this guy's done a really great job, in presenting Smart City or something. So he does a great job also